One, thank you all so much for joining me today. So today's training is all about our asset management feature within Salamander Live. So it's been a while since I've done this training. It's probably been 2 years. So I thought I'd uh, touch back on this feature. I know that this is a well-loved feature within our Salamander Live portfolio. So I want to make sure that we covered this feature in detail. We're going to cover all functionalities, including uploading inventory items and equipment, setting and managing inventory alerts, and downloading inventory reports. Now, if you have any questions during the training, please feel free to ask. I'll make sure that I provide enough ample time for everybody to ask questions. As always, our trainings are recorded. I will post this within our YouTube channel. So please make sure if you want to review it, you can go back there and see that channel. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about what the asset management feature is. So this is a feature that you can subscribe to within your Salamander Live package. So this is an additional subscription. And what this does is it turns on any feature that's within Salamander Live that's related to inventory. So it does allows you to um, set up consumables. So right now, everybody has the package for Salamander Live includes the ability to add equipment, but that's just your regular equipment. There's no functionality to add in consumables or disposable type items. With the asset management turned on, you'll be able to do that. You'll also be able to set inventory alerts. So inventory alerts are basically notifications that you can set up to remind you to complete something by a certain date, or to either dispose, to complete maintenance, inspection. There's a lot of different options within that feature that you're able to set for all your equipment. And then the other thing is that you're able to look at additional inventory reports. So with just the equipment feature, you only have access to one report, which is a CSV report. With the asset management feature, you get a bunch of other reports that are turned on for you. So we'll take a look at those as well. Now, with the asset management feature, it does come with the inventory app as well too. So you get two with the base package. Now, today's training, we're not going to cover this. We're actually going to cover that next month. So if you're here for the inventory app, we are not going to cover this feature until next month. So please come back for that. All right, so I'm going to jump right into Salamander Live. Make sure this is nice and large, everybody can see. All right, so in Salamander Live, once you have the inventory feature turned on and you're subscribed to it, you'll see that under the security user. So if you're an administrator, once you subscribe to the asset management feature, you'll have to go in and turn that on for your other users. So within your account, you'll be able to see you've got your different users in here. You'll have to go in there and actually set up so that they have access to the inventory feature. You see that? So that's how you know that you're subscribed. And again, it's also tied to the organization. So asset management is organization based. So that's how the license is done. So you can purchase it for one organization or for multiple organizations. The only way that you're going to see the inventory feature is if that person, the person you're setting up for access, is tied to an organization up here that is subscribed to the asset management feature. Once you select the correct organization, you'll see the product and the feature appear underneath Salamander Live. And you're able to go in there and select that product. And then making sure that they have a role that allows them to manage equipment. Okay, so if they're not an administrator, there is a specific role in here called equipment management that allows them to go in and add, upload equipment. Okay. So in here, you'll see if I go to equipment management, this is just a quick way if you're wanting to see what they're able to do. When you select one in the role box, you'll see that there's an info icon. There's a role permissions that pops up. You'll be able to see exactly what they're able to do. Okay. And then making sure you select the correct organization in which they should have access for inventory, and then click apply. So that's the setup piece for users for access to asset management. Now, once you're in here, there's two ways to add your assets in the system. So there's a manual way, there's an import. So you can do either way. So I'm going to just take a look at one record here so you can take a look for a non-consumable piece of equipment. So for example, I'm just going to look at one of my pieces of equipment here. Again, you have all different options in here. I've got this radio. You'll see I've got some consumables in here, some non-consumables. You've got some high ticket items in here for trucks and such. But again, you have the capability to add all your equipment in here. So we'll take a look at this radio real quick here. So in here, when you're adding a piece of equipment, so you'll see this is the form that you would fill out. So the form in this case, when you're clicking and creating a new record, this is where you're able to mark whether it's a consumable or not. Now, one thing about this checkbox is that once you mark a piece of equipment as consumable or non-consumable, meaning it's not checked, and you click save, you're no longer able to go back in and change that status. You see how this is a record that's already been created? I cannot click that consumable button anymore. If you made a mistake and you need to switch that status, you'll need to go in to that record, delete it, and then enter that piece of equipment back into the system. Okay. So in here you'll have the ID number, which again you have a system generated one, or you can use something that's more custom like I have here. Again, you pick and choose what your ID convention is going to be. So if you're doing vehicles and you want to use license plate numbers, or if that vehicle is numbered and you want to use that vehicle number, or if you want to use part of the VIN number, it's completely up to you. Same thing with the name here. Your naming convention could be whatever you want it to be. You can make it more descriptive, or you can make it really nice, short and simple and generic. It's completely up to you. Again, this is going to impact the way that all your inventory is going to be searched and found in the system. Okay, so you want to make sure that it's easily searchable. People know exactly what you're talking about if there's more than you that's going to be managing this inventory. And then of course the organization in which this piece of equipment belongs to. Okay, so again, just like any organization field, you must type it in and then you must select it from the drop down. Okay, so that's very important. Here, description. So in the name field, we are limited. You're limited to 15 characters. Now, if it's above and beyond that, you do have the option to enter in additional information in the description field. So highly recommend that. Keep this nice and short. Add more information in description field, which allows more characters in here. Station, there's a lot of organizations I know that's using this for where this piece of equipment is located, like if it's on a shelf or in a specific building. Now we do have a location tab over here that you can actually put in the actual address of where this piece of equipment is being kept. However, you can name that location, and a lot of organizations have been using the station field. So again, you can repurpose these fields in any way that you choose to, as long as everybody else knows that that's what that information, what you're collecting there, and it's consistent across the board. Now there is a field over here, I should say a tab over here called custom, where you're able to go in and add in the custom fields. So if you wanted to put like actual building or warehouse name, you can create those custom fields over here as well too. They're not done over here, it's done under the settings side by an account administrator. So the account administrator has to set that up, which would then make those custom fields available for you as a user if you're not an administrator. So I'll walk through that process as well. Parenting in this case, the parent field allows you to link records together. So for example, you'll see that I've got this IST trailer and I've got this radio. So in this case, this radio is always on this trailer. So this is what I'm doing is I'm basically creating this IST trailer first, because again, you have to select it from the drop down. You see this as I start typing, it's going to pop up and I'm going to need to select it from the drop down. You see that? So the parent piece of equipment has to exist first before you can link. So if you're doing this for the very first time, you're starting fresh, put in all your parent equipment and then figure out, okay, now that I've got this parent equipment in there, what are all the sub equipment that belongs on that parent equipment? So in this case, I've got my trailer in here. What piece of equipment do I want to link to this trailer? That's always going to be on this trailer. So if this trailer is deployed, it's being deployed with all the equipment on that trailer. This case for category, you have the option to create your categories. It's completely open text. You can create whichever categories you want in there. You just want to be careful that you're not duplicating categories. Like for example, I have, in this case, I might have two, there's probably two. Oh, it looks like I deleted one. So in the past, I actually had two radio categories. One was radio and one was radios. I think in my last training class, I edited this. But you want to make sure that, you're not duplicating multiple categories. So if you're putting an S at the end of it, that you're keeping that. So when you're typing it in here, if you're trying to look for something, you want to make sure that you select from the drop down. So that's telling you that there's an existing category called trucks. Okay. Other ID, feel free to use this for what you want. It's completely up to you. So if you are receiving this piece of equipment, through a grant or fund, and there's another ID for that you need to track, you can place that information right here. Notes, feel free to enter this as needed. On the details side, this is more for vehicle information, but again, not just vehicle information, but you also have make, model, year of that piece of equipment, and you'll see VIN serial number down here as well too. If it's NIMS type, you can select it from here. There's another area that I recommend using instead of the NIMS type here to collect for the NIMS typing. It's going to be under the qualifications area, so I'll show you that. Again, this piece of equipment's a radio. It's not going to be NIMS typed. For purchasing, you'll have cost information. So you can put how much it costs for this piece of equipment. So in the case where it gets out of service, it gets broke or damaged, you're able to find out what the replacement cost is for that. This here for cost code, this is really related to reimbursable equipment. So we actually have the FEMA link right here, which is going to take you to FEMA schedule of equipment rates, where you're able to go in there. So if you are inventorying equipment that is FEMA reimbursable, you'll see in here, you can download the report here, or you can search for a specific piece of equipment, and it'll tell you whether or not that piece of equipment is reimbursable. It'll give you the cost code, and it'll also give you the rate and the hour in there. And you can enter that information in Salamander Live. Now, why is that important? Is that if this piece of equipment was issued out using the inventory app to a person, the moment that it's issued out, it starts calculating costs. Okay. Now that's going to be thrown into a cost report on the event side. So it's, in this case, it's tied to a specific event that you're going to get reimbursed for. So again, if that's for natural disasters, etc., right? That's reimbursable. And it's going to take that cost code, it's going to take that rate per unit and then calculate it per hour per day on that cost report. And then you're able to, it does all the full calculations for you from time in to time out. And then you can send it in to finance and then send it over to FEMA to get reimbursed. Purchase organization, if it's different than who actually owned it. So maybe it was purchased by the state provided you this piece of equipment, now you have it. So in this case, you could put the state in here, and then you could put you as, your organization as the owner. The only thing in this is that the purchase organization has to exist in the system. Okay, so it has to exist in the system. So for example, if I start typing, this is my organization, my account. So that's why, again, it has to exist in here. So if I typing M, I've got a lot of organizations in here. Okay. So if it doesn't exist, you'll have to add that. So in the case, if you're receiving equipment from the state and you want to track that, but you're a county level organization and county level account, you want to make sure that you create the state under the organization database side so that it appears here. Invoice number, PO, funding source, if it's a grant, who you purchase it from, purchase date, receipt date. Okay. Location, this is going to be very important on location side. This here, you do have the option of just putting in the address of where this piece of equipment is located. However, you'll see at the very top, there is a button for deployable. What does this mean? If you select this deployable button, what's going to happen? It's going to require an address, okay, including latitude and longitude, as well as a contact. Why is that important? Why is it requiring all this information? When you mark a piece of equipment as deployable, what happens is that it's going to actually place this piece of equipment into another database called deployable equipment. That deployable equipment list is visible to every single user within your account that has access to the equipment side. Okay, so what that does is it allows you to share your equipment, so your deployable equipment, with everybody that's within the account, so that you have a single tool that has all the resources within your county or within your state, and you're able to look and see what people have. So in the case if there is a natural disaster, you need to pull in resources, you're able to see who has what. Okay, now again, that deployable equipment list is just viewable. There is no way for them to edit your record. They can only see what you've placed and captured for information. So again, I'll show you what that's going to look like as well. Again, the deployable side, it's not a specific feature to the asset management. Okay, so the deployable option just comes with your basic SalamanderLive package. Okay, and then you can put phone number in there. Now, if email is not required, I highly recommend putting email in there. The email, there's a feature in there called Request Deployable Equipment. It's a built-in feature on the deployable equipment side. So if you wanted to request the equipment, it does require an email. So I highly recommend you put that in there. Okay. Right. And then custom fields, you'll see in here, I've created some already. I didn't make them required, but you can see just some samples of what you can put in here. Like I put condition, under warranty, useful life, and expire date. Okay. So again, you can pick and choose what you want to create when it comes to custom fields under the settings count option. Okay, and you can do up to 10. And this is for the entire account. Okay, so it's not per org, it's for the entire account. So you kind of have to pick and choose fields that's going to make sense for everybody. Once you're done, you basically click save and it's going to take you into the record. Now, by default, every single non-consumable record is going to be placed into a available status. Now, this was a record I already had in the system. So I actually manually changed this in the system. So if you look over here, there's the inventory status, there's a change status. So there's options that you can select from in here. So this was a manual change that was done to this piece of equipment. Of course, you can also change the status within the inventory app as well. There's a feature in there that you're able to go in there and make this change. But you'll see in here assigned is grayed out. The assigned feature, this functionality can only be done within the inventory app. So you can change it from out of service, missing, being serviced, back to available. However, assigned has to be done through that inventory app. And that's a mobile application you download onto your phone. So you can find it within your app store and then download it, and then you can log in. If you have permissions to or license to, you can log in and do that assignment there. So again, I'll just change it to available, click save, and you'll see it's available now. So everything I'm doing in here is saving into this equipment's history. So it's gonna show who marked it out of service, who marked it available, and when it was marked as such. Pictures, you can upload it. Again, you can use generic photos if you want to. If you want to take a picture, feel free to. You'll have your options down here at the bottom. You can also do this within the inventory app. I like it through the inventory app because I'm not tied to computer. I'm right on my phone. I can just scan the product, or I can just search for the product and then just upload right away from my phone. So again, that will be next month. I'll walk you through that process with the inventory app. Scrolling down, you'll see all the information I've entered in here so far, custom fields. You'll see documents down here. So again, you have your options of uploading any sort of documents related to this piece of equipment. It could be invoice, POs, work orders. If it's getting maintenance, if it's a truck and it's getting maintenance, you can put that information in there. If it's getting repaired, you could put the repair receipt in there, what was fixed, etc. Down at the bottom, you'll see this alert section. So this alerts was what I was talking about earlier, and that you're able to go in and set up notifications. Okay, so these notifications, there's so many different options for you to do so. You'll see in here, there's a bunch of them in here. They were set up as a reoccurring. and they're all expired. So obviously, this is my training account, not been managed in that way. I recommend that you do not leave your account looking like mine here. They can get out of hand if you're not on top of these alerts. So what you can do is you can click on Add Alert, and you can select your alert type. So there's all these different options, right? You can set up for when you need to reorder this item by, you can do it when this item was received, when it was disposed of, expected, etc. So you have your options in here. If it doesn't fit any of these types, you can select other as well. Okay. Now date, this is the trigger date. So this is the date in which you want to be reminded that this repair needs to be completed. Okay. So it can be, it could be today's date or it could be future date. Can't be a past date. Okay. So let's say that I want a reminder on here for, if again, this is a repair, so I can put that this repair is going to should be done by this particular date. Or if it was um, maintenance, or if it was need to be disposed of, I can put on here to remind me, hey, this needs to be disposed of by this date. Okay. Or that to send me an alert saying, hey, don't forget that you need to dispose or repair this equipment. So you can use this date field for any way that you choose to do so. Usually it's when this date is met, what's going to happen is that the system is going to notify you. There's a home on the home dashboard. There's an alerts tile. The alerts tile lets you know when your alerts are expired, meaning that date has been triggered and has been met, and that something needs to happen. So either need to clear that out, or that if that particular notification or that type was completed, you can mark it as complete. Okay. So I can put in the date. I'll put in tomorrow's date. Oops. Description, this is what needs to be done. So in this case, it could be just a brief description, right? What needs to be done to this? If this is a repair, what's being repaired, or what needs to be repaired, or where it needs to be sent to. Again, the description field is, you got less characters here that you can enter in. So if it's more, you can put it in the notes section. Okay. Okay. If you want this repair to reoccur, you have that option to do so. So this is just having it repeat. So for a repair, probably not. But if it's maintenance, let's say this is a vehicle and vehicles need to get maintenance every 3 months, you can set a reminder saying, hey, no, this time to check to make sure that this vehicle, that it's not that it's met its mileage for an oil change, etc. Right? Because again, depends on how much people are driving those vehicles, right? So if they drive them more often, you're probably gonna do a maintenance a lot sooner than later. But that reminder right here just lets you know, hey, double check this vehicle to make sure that it's still in good condition, if it needs to get any repairs or it needs an oil change, etc. Okay. Once you're done, simply click save. Once you click save, it's going to appear here. Okay, so there it is. So today's for tomorrow's date. You'll see there's a pending one right here because it's pulling. This is a 1 month reoccurrence. So once this date has been met, which is 9/1, it automatically created the next one. So that's how the reoccurrence works. It goes off the previous um, alert. Okay. So you can set as many alerts as you need to for a piece of equipment. Okay, so as many alerts as you need to. Any questions so far in this process? So while we're on the alerts section, I'm going to continue with this. Okay, so you have the home dashboard. You can search through. I don't think I have it added here. I do have it added here. So the alert list. So if this is your first time subscribing to the asset management feature, this alert list tile is going to be hidden. So, and that's hidden by default. So at the very top, you should see a tiles menu. Top right corner, you'll see a tiles menu. It's 4 squares. You click on that and you'll be able to see the alert list tile. Just simply click on it to add it. Okay, once you add it, just adds it to your home dashboard. From there, you're able to expand it, make it a little bit larger. So how you expand it is bottom right-hand corner, just resize it. And then if you click on the tile header, you're able to click and drag and drop it where you want it to go. Okay. So you'll see here there's 4 different categories. One is expiring next 7 days, expiring next 30 days, and expiring last 30 days. So these are just metrics to let you know that you've got some alert notifications that are coming due. Okay, so expiring next 7 days is what's highlighted. You see it's highlighting green. This is what I see in here. So there's 4 listed in here. So it looks like here's my radio one. So again, this reminder is going to pop up on here saying, hey, make sure that, someone goes in and fixes that radio. You'll see here monthly inspections, here's maintenance for tires. So you'll see the dates in there. So each one of these are clickable, so you'll be able to see that. This one, obviously this is last 30 days. This is my training count. I know this is probably in the thousands, only because I use this for training and people go in there and set up daily reminders and such. But all these are available within a report, so you can pull a CSV report of all of these and then send it over to whoever needs to take care of it. So if it's not your job to take care of this, but just to kind of oversee, you can pull this over into a report and email that out to them. Now, each of these here are clickable, so you're able to go in here and click on that record. Okay, so you're able to click into that record. So I can go in there, I can click on the record, and it'll take you into the actual profile. You can scroll all the way down to the alerts section, expand that, and you'll see the alerts listed. There's a lot of them in here. Someone set up, they're nice enough to set one for a daily reoccurrence. But you'll see here's the oil change one that's due October 12th. So again, you have your options. So from this page, you can edit and complete these. But however, if you do it from this page, you can only do it one at a time. So if I click on this alert notification, I can go in here and I can edit that. I can edit it. So let's say if I'm done with this, I want to put my completion notes in here. I can mark the date in which it's complete. So in this case, it's going to show today's date, but if it's a past date, I could put a past date. So if this was actually done on the 1st, I can mark it as the 1st, right? You just can't do a future date. Once you mark this complete, it's gonna mark it as complete. You'll see it appear at the bottom of the list that it's been marked complete. Okay, so again, this has been daily. And then there's an actual report. You can go in and look at all your completed notifications or completed alert notifications as well. Okay. The other way that you can do this is from the home dashboard. So on the home dashboard, you can do it right from the alert list. You can actually do a multi-complete. Okay, so the only reason why you would do it from this page is if you don't care about entering any notes. Okay, so for example, if these ones are all completed, they're all completed the same day, I can put a completion note on here that they've been completed. So this is basically completed or closed out, right? So I can put my date in here. I can put in here complete. Now you can't put any notes. All this is saying is it's going to mark it as completed. What does that mean to you? It just depends. Were these closed out or were they actually completed? So again, you can't make any notes on here. You can click OK, and it's going to mark those complete, and you'll see that this has decremented by those numbers. Now, these alert lists or these alert notifications, as they expire, you do have the option of subscribing to receive an email, and these emails are sent once a day. So how do you subscribe to those emails? They're under the welcome. So if you click on your profile where it says welcome and your username, you can click on that. In the middle of the page, there is an option called active subscriptions. So again, this only works if you are subscribed to the asset management feature and if you're using alerts. If you're not utilizing the alerts feature, it doesn't make sense to turn this on. But if you would like to receive these, you can go in here and you can subscribe. So you can choose my primary organization only. So in this case, it would be sent just for this organization, or you can do all alerts. That means for the entire account if you want to see everybody's alerts. So you have your options. Once you turn that on, make sure you click save. I'm not going to subscribe to this. You're going to receive an email. So the email comes out once a day. It comes in the morning. So I get these every day right now. So there's one of these. I'll show you. This is from my other account. So this is what it would look like. So it's just it comes from SalamanderLive notifications. Make sure you save this as a favorite or allow so it doesn't go into your junk email bin or spam. But all it does is it gives you a list of everything that has expired as of today. In this case, expires. Again, that means that the date has met. Whatever date you place in there has been met. And so it'll give you the alert date, organization, name, the item name with the ID number in parentheses, the alert type, the description, and then your notes in here. Now, if you see any of these right here where it says item has dropped below reorder threshold, these are ones that are created by Salamander Live. So these are auto-generated by Salamander Live, and these are only auto-generated for consumable items. So we'll talk about that in a little bit here. Okay, so this reorder is going to populate due to a setting that you set within a consumable record. So this doesn't, you can't do anything with this. This all it does is it gives you this information, and then what you need to do is log into Salamander Live, and you can manage it from a home dashboard, or you can go through each record and then make the changes and edits as you need to for those alerts. So that is the alerts feature. Again, that is a big feature that's part of the asset management. Going back to the piece of equipment, on here for consumables, you'll see in here I've got a couple different consumable pieces in here. So I'm just gonna look, again, you can basically enter whatever you need in here. If it's PPE, if it's, if you're looking at office supplies, again, it's completely up to you and how you want to track that, right? During COVID, masks were a big thing. So we've got a bunch of masks in here. Someone's little cup that they uploaded in here. So for consumables, how does that work? So in this case, when you select that consumable checkbox, you will get a sixth tab called inventory. So how you inventory this item is completely up to you. Like, is this a single mask or is this a pack or a box? Okay, so that's how you are issuing out the items. Are you giving them a single mask, or giving them a box, or giving them a pack, and that pack contains 4. So it's completely up to you and how you want to do that. You could put a parentheses in here and saying what that count is. You'll see that I have some of my pieces of equipment or my items like that, where it tells you, like, for example, these AAA batteries, 4 count, 20 count, 12 count. Okay, you can even put, like, if you got any medicine that you're keeping on there, you're keeping track of within, like, your first aid kits or anything. Again, this is if you're tracking these individual items. Most are not. They'll just look at that kit, and then they'll know exactly what needs to go in each kit, and they'll just inventory that actual kit. So if it's a stop the bleed kit, if it's a first aid kit, they're not tracking every single component that's within that kit. They're just tracking that kit itself. So if you have your options to do so in here. So going back to that P95 mask. So in here, you can categorize it as you see fit. You have all the same information in here. Purchasing, highly recommend you put the cost in there. Okay. And I'll tell you why that's important, because there's a report that's going to pull this cost and everything you have on your inventory side. And as you need to reorder, as you get below your reorder threshold, you can pull a report, and the report does all the calculations for you on what you need to order to meet your max. So again, location, your custom, your inventory. So for your inventory side for consumable, you can put in your quantity on hand, your max in stock. Okay, so this is what you currently have on hand. What is the max amount you would ever have on hand, and how low should you go before you need to reorder, before you run out? So that reorder quantity, so that notification that you saw, that I showed you earlier, that's related to consumable items, is based off of this right here. So if my quantity goes to 49 today, so if it goes to 49 today and I save this, tomorrow I'm going to receive that alert notification that I am now below my reorder threshold for this item right here. Okay. In here, you got your quantity and unit and how it's sold as. So what do you have in the unit and what is sold at? As you fill in all these 5 fields, you'll be able to pull those into a reorder report, and you'll be able to see exactly what you need to order to meet your max in stock. So again, if you are running out sooner than you are able to order them, you can increase this if you need to. Increase it, make sure it's higher so that so that you don't run out. So these are all fields that you can edit. Any questions on the difference between consumable, non-consumable? And you can still set up your alerts down at the bottom here as well too for this. So you'll see in here, I've got a bunch that were below reorder threshold, and then it stopped after August 6th because someone actually ordered some, they placed the quantity in here, and now we're over that 50 quantity. That's why we're not getting that alert notification anymore. All right, so that's manual add. That's manual add. Let's take a look at the import. So the import, which most people are probably going to use when it comes to any sort of equipment, most organizations probably have a Excel spreadsheet or some sort that they're tracking their equipment on. But we have an import process in here that you're able to utilize. So under import left menu, you'll see that there's the two different types of records you can import in. There's the equipment. So when you click on import equipment, there is going to be this import window that populates. So this is our import wizard. Within our import wizard, there's two click here buttons, or links, I should say. You'll see that they are in green. I know they're kind of hard to see here, but you'll see here and here. This is the instructions, which I highly recommend you click and review before you do any sort of import. And the other one is the CSV template. So this is your source file. So in this case, this is your import file. This is how you can work off of this file to make sure that you complete your import. So in this file right here, this is our template. Row 1 you'll see in here has all of the column header names. These column header names are named specifically because they are going to be used to map to the specific fields within Salamander Live. So row 1 should never be changed. Do not change this. Don't touch this column. You know, if you're not using that column, you can completely delete it. Okay, so if you remember when you're creating a brand new record, there's only 3 pieces of information that's required. These right here, ABC. Organization name, ID, and name. From here, everything else is optional. You don't have, if you just wanted to create a basic record, that's all you need to fill out. But again, it just doesn't give you much. So you always want to make sure you have enough information. So if you can look at something, you can figure out, how much you have on hand, etc. if you're looking at tracking. Okay. So any of these fields, if you're not using, completely delete them from here. So I've got a sample I just created in here. Here's my sample. So in here, you'll see the organization name has to be exact. So if there's spaces in there, there's dashes, there's apostrophes, you want to make sure it is exact. Okay? And what you have within Salamander Live. And here's the ID number. If you leave the ID number field blank, it will auto-generate. If you want to use a custom ID number, you can just type that in. So I'm giving you 2 options right here so you can see that. Name of the item. Okay. Description. Station, I put where which room it's located in. For parenting, so you can do the parenting right on the same page if you need to. So you see in here, this folding metal chair goes with this folding table. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right here is I'm tying it. So you see the ID number, it's looking for the parent ID number, which is this right here. Now, if the parent is an existing one, you'll have to go into Salamander Live and grab that parent data. So that means you have to go in here and find what that parent data is. So if this was, I'm going to look for a tent. So here's a tent. So you see in here, tent, if this is an existing piece of equipment. So if I want to link this folding table to that, let me just do this. So if I want to link this folding table right here, the 60 by 30 to this tent right here in tent 01, I have to type in 01 over here, tent 01 under in the parent field. And then parent equipment organization is who that piece of equipment belongs to. In this case, it's Moosewood County Public Health. That's what I would enter in here. Okay. So I can link the two together. Link the two, but I just want to make sure that everybody knew that. So I got a bunch of information. I had created a category called pod equipment, some notes in here, manufacturing, make, model, service date. Actually, I'm going to delete that. Cost, PO number. Again, you have your options. consumable. If it is, you could put true or false in there. There's other options like N is no, 0 is no or false, and then 1, yes, true. Okay. Your quantity is in here, how it's sold as a pack, address information, contact information. Okay. So all this information right here, if you're unsure how to fill that out, it's in this import guide right here. So the import guide right here gives you all the instructions for how to fill out your source file or your import file. There's an import checklist right here. We talk about format requirements. So if you don't want to use our template, you don't have to. Just make sure that when you are done with your document, you have our column headers on your Excel spreadsheet. Okay. And not only that, you want to make sure that when you're done working with that Excel spreadsheet, you save it as a CSV file. Our import wizard only accepts CSV files. That's it. Okay, so CSV or CSV UTF-8. I just usually just do the CSV file. Okay. And then here you'll see there are all the column headers, and there's going to give you the max length, so the character length for each one, the text, the type. So you'll see here text number, so it'll tell you that. And then you'll see in here some of this is pick list. Okay, so you see for status, you can only change it from available to missing or missing to available. You can't do out of service, being serviced. Okay. So that means you have to type in specifically. So the status in this case, if you don't have the status column in here, which I don't have the status column in here, I removed it. By default, it's going to place it under the available option. Okay. So it's going to be not enter, it's going to be skipped. It's going to automatically put it into available. Now, if it's consumable and you put yes, the consumable is based off of what you have quantity on hand. So if you put yes for consumable but didn't enter in a quantity, it's going to automatically move that into the not or out of stock status. So you can fill all that in. Just double check that your fields, all your cells match up with this. Once you're done, it's really simple to complete the import. So I'm just going to click save on this. So to complete the import is simply going in here, click on import, click on equipment, browse, find your file. Okay. So find your file. There it is, my file right there for today's date. Name it so you can find it. You'll see it's a CSV file. If it's not a CSV file, you won't even see it listed. Double click, there's your file name, click upload. Once you upload, you're going to receive this message. It says that upload complete. You're going to receive an email within 15 minutes with the results. Okay, so there's really no limit to a number of records you can import in. It's actually like really high for new records to add in. It's like 50,000. If you're looking at updating, it's like 5,000. Do I recommend you do that many at a time? Absolutely not. Try to keep it in small batches. You can go and double check to make sure that everything imported in correctly. Okay, so small batches, maybe do like just, your vehicles or maybe a type of vehicle. Okay, and then complete that import and then do the next one. Don't use sheets in here. So our import wizard does not read sheets. So only have one sheet in here. So if you have multiple sheets in here, it's not going to import every single sheet. It's only going to do the one. So you can have your master copy of all your inventory items, just copy and paste them into another template and then just import that. Okay. So here's my email. I just received my email. This is what it looks like. So this is a perfect import. You'll see in here, perfect import. So it's going to, again, come from SalamanderLive notifications. It's going to tell you at the top here, import complete. So there's two statuses, import complete, import failed. I'll talk about the difference between the two in a little bit here. So it's going to tell you how many records did it process. So it's looking for row 2 and up, right? Row 2 and up. Out of those 3, how many did it add and how many did it update? So it tells you right here, it added 3 pieces of equipment. So that tells you that's a perfect import. Now, if you updated, which you are able to do with an import, you can update your equipment in here as well. It'll show the number of records that were updated. So let's go into SalamanderLive. We'll be able to see this information. Okay. So I'm going to clear all my filters right here. I'm going to add a filter in here. This filter, I'm going to filter it by the organization, public health, 1, 2, 3, apply. And there's my items that were imported in. So if I wanted to make sure that parenting went in, I can add in the parenting field. So top right, the edit columns icon, I can click down here. I can go all the way down to the parent description. So the P's, parent description, parent ID if I wanted to. Okay. And then I can click done, and you'll see in here that it linked them correctly. So it's telling me that this metal chair belongs at this right here. You'll see the ID numbers. So again, that's just a great quick way to double check to make sure your information imported in. You can do that for consumables, etc. Any questions on the import process? Any questions? Now, if you need to update any of this information, you can also use the import process to do so. Again, I covered that in a previous training, I want to say a few months ago. So if you're interested in walking through and how to update existing records using the import, you can definitely go through that process there or look through that video or those tutorials I have available. But you can go in here, add in all your different columns that you want to update, and then you can export this out into a CSV file. So at the top right, the reports button, the CSV file is the only one that is customizable because it's based off of the column headers that you've added in here. And of course, your filters and sort also come into play. But sort and filter comes into play in every single one of your reports here. Okay. So you'll see in here, I've got a CSV files that are available for every single one of these reports. Alert report and on, these are all canned reports. So this is going to be based off of all your alerts. So I'm going to clear my filter here real quick here. Oops. So the alert report in this case, you can select your status. You want your pending, do you want your expired, do you want to complete, or do you want all? And then you can select which one that you want specifically, or you can select all. It's completely up to you, and then run the report. Full inventory report if you want to see everything. So this is basically your master copy. So you don't need to keep a Excel spreadsheet anymore of your equipment because everything's in the database here. You can always pull your information out into a CSV file anytime that you need to using this full inventory report. Again, this full inventory report doesn't have all the information though. So again, this is a canned report, so it's only specific fields that's populating. So I highly recommend that you do the CSV export and just add in all the fields, just add in every single one of these fields in here so that it populates within your report, your CSV report. So just simply go in and add every single one of these. So that way you're not going through and saying, oh, which record has what fields were captured for which record. You don't need to do that. Just add them all. This right here, issued fixed inventory report, is related to the inventory app. We'll cover that next month with the inventory app training. Missing, out of service, these two right here are based off of the statuses that you set in here. So anything that's currently marked as missing will appear within this report. Anything that's currently marked as out of service will appear in this report. This parent-child report, again, this shows you the parent-child relationship. So the linking of your equipment. So I'll just quickly pull this one so you can kind of see what that report looks like. So it just pulls everything in here. So you'll see in here, so aerial engine is the parent for the axe. Okay. So you have the option to take a look at this. So this is a great report to look at just to make sure you've got the right piece of equipment linked. This one. The reorder report, this is the one I was talking about that's related to the consumable items. If you fill in all of the fields on the inventory tab as well as costs, this report's going to be extremely beneficial, especially if you're in charge of reordering and purchasing. Pull that report. You can see this. So this right here tells you all your items that are below reorder threshold. It tells you exactly what you need to order. What's missing on here is cost. That's why nothing is populating right here. That's why you're not having any of this information. Okay. So if you fill in all the fields like quantity, reorder quantity, quantity of units, sold as, max in stock, it's going to tell you what you need to order, okay, and what the cost is, how many units you need to order and what the cost is, and you'll get the total cost. So if you fill in all the information and all the information is pulling up correctly, you can just send this off to finance, get it approved, and then you can order. Okay. So great report to have. The other ones in here, these are all related to the inventory or the inventory app. These three right here. Okay, so again, we'll cover those next month, but those are all the reports you can see. Now, there's additional reports if you click on a specific record, you can go into the record or you can click right on the equipment list. So if you click on the equipment list, you're able to go in here and there's actually two more reports. There's equipment history report, equipment change log. So the difference between the two, equipment history is full history of that piece of equipment. So when it was created, you're going to see when it was issued out, when it was returned, if it was marked as damaged, available, etc. You see that full history, and that's the same thing for consumable items as quantity is being added and deducted from the count. You'll see that in here. The equipment change log report is talking about what changes were made within the record itself. So like the field changes and who actually made those changes. Now, this change log report is email only. Email only. So if you click on it, you're going to see that you're going to receive a request via email. So send to whatever email that you have set up within your SalamanderLive profile. Okay. So that change log is going to look like this. See if I can find my change log. Oh, I don't want to do that. Log in here. Let me look at one here. Here's one. So here's a change log report and what it looks like. So this is basically what it looks like. My Excel real quick here. Web version. I don't like the web version as much. Here it is. So all it does is it tells you right here, when is the activity date? Was the change type? Was it insert, update? Was it an add? The old value, the new value? Who made the change? So the username, the full name, and then the notes. So that's basically what it's telling you right here. So you're ever needing to go back and look at who made what change or who marked something, as such, you'll be able to see that information right there. So that is the reports. Any questions on this here? Now I didn't talk about the qualifications for NIMS type. I apologize on that. I want to go back on here. So if your resources are NIMS typed resources, there's a field in here you're able to add under the profile to mark it as NIMS type 1, 2, etc. Where we recommend you place that is under the qualifications side. So just like on the people side, you're able to see your tier 1 folder. If you set up tier 2, 3, 4, and 5, you'll see those as well. Again, that's administrator function that's done on the qualification training link over here in your menu. But in here, you're able to go in here and add the specific qualification for that. If it's a truck, you're able to go in there and add in that information. Okay, so you'll see in here, type trucks, so engine. So if it's a pumper, fireboat, fire truck, aerial ladder, you're able to add in that information right from here. Okay, so if it's a type 1 for this truck, I can select that. And that is what's going to appear within the record. So it's telling you right here it's an aerial app type 1. Oh, and I already have it right here. Okay. So then it allows you to search. If you're looking for searching your equipment, you can go in here and search for all your type 1s, aerial apparatuses. So all you do is add in the qualification column if you want to. So I'm going to go into the queues, qualifications. I'm going to move this up higher. Okay. And then you can type in your type 1s, right? So you'll see in the qualifications, FFTI1. So that's how you can do it. So you can search by it. And this is searching by code or by name. Aerial. So you see in here, aerial apparatus. I can apply. And then there's all the ones that are marked as such. Okay. Now you can also do this on the deployable side as well too. Again, this deployable equipment piece is not an asset management related feature. It's available for all, but in this case, every single piece of equipment that you add that you mark as deployable will appear within this list. And this list is viewable by anybody within the entire account that has access to equipment. Okay, so again, you can't click on any of these. It doesn't do anything, but they are able to go in there and add in columns to view the information. So in this case, if they want to know what resources are available within the county, they can go in there and see every single piece of equipment that's deployable within the county. You'll be able to put in there like contact information, who they need to contact, phone number, where is it located, the address information. Okay, NIMS typing. So in this case, if you want to do it by qualifications, you can do it by here. So search for a specific typed vehicle that you need for a particular event or incident. You're able to search for that information. Okay. And then from there, you're able to request for that piece of equipment by clicking on the item. So for example, I click this checkbox next to that piece of equipment. I can click on the send request deployable equipment and send the information. So again, this feature is not specific to asset management. It's for everybody that has access to equipment. I just want to showcase that for everybody. Okay. The other area I want to talk about in this case is the custom fields. So for asset management, it does require you and your parent organization to have asset management in order to be able to add custom fields. So you go to settings account if you're the administrator, settings account, and you scroll all the way down, you're going to see this custom fields option. Click on the pencil icon to edit and add in your custom field. So everybody will always have access to people, right? So it doesn't matter what account you have, as long as you have a SalamanderLive base account, you'll be able to add in custom fields for people. However, it's the equipment side that's restricted to asset management only. So both the sub organization or child organization and the parent organization has to have asset management in order for them to see this information. So this is where you can enter that in. You can mark it as required, show if you want to. Again, if you mark it required, every single time someone goes in and creates a record, it's going to require them to enter in the condition. So if it's not something that every piece of equipment is going to have a condition for, I recommend you just put a show and make it an optional piece of information that could be captured for the record. This is what I want. And just simply click save. Okay. Any questions on what we've covered today? Any questions? All right, no questions? All right, again, this is just part 1 of the asset management feature. So we've just looked at the uploading of inventory items within the SalamanderLive database. Next month, we'll do part 2, which is the inventory app. So that's the natural progression, right? You enter in your information into the system, and then you're using the inventory app to track who has what. Okay. So that's going to be part 2. So come back next month to join in that training. We'll go through the inventory app itself. For today's training, I'll make sure to post it within our YouTube channel. So it's a Salamander YouTube channel. You can also go into Salamander University, find all the resources for asset management. It's its own separate section right here. You'll see asset management right here. Everything we covered is basically within these tutorials. So these are more like video tutorials. If you're not a video tutorial person and you want user guides, there's a user guide under the documents section. Just click on documents, user guide, and then you'll see asset management. Again, I kept that separate from the SalamanderLive one. So SalamanderLive, this guide right here, does not have anything to do with asset management. It's just your basic SalamanderLive account. Okay. If you don't like either of those and you rather watch a video, I do have the old video from a couple years back. And where did I place it? It's probably solution focused in here. Let me see where I placed it. This has the inventory app. It might not be on here anymore. Might have deleted it. Yeah, so it's not on here anymore, but I know that it is available in our YouTube channel. So just go back in there and you'll be able to see that information. Or maybe it's back to basics. Yeah, you'll see back to basics in here, but it doesn't go really through everything in detail. So you can look at this inventory solutions ones, but again, this is an older video. So just let me know if you like that video ahead of time before I post it on our YouTube channel, and I can send that to you. Just put your email in the chat and I can send it over. Other than that, everybody, I just want to thank you all so much for your time today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out for me at any time. Please reach out. Here's my contact information right here. If I can go to the correct slide, my contact information. I know I didn't talk about printing on here. We're just running a little bit off on time on here, but printing in this case is the same printing process as on the people side, except that you have different designs. So this is our 2x1, which is probably the most popular one. This prints off on a label printer. And then you have your hard card designs, which is a 3-tag system. So the little key tags or a hard card. And then you have your paper designs. So very similar to what you can do with the people side, except this is just going to show equipment. And then that you can plop that label right on your piece of equipment and you're set and ready to go for scanning. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the printing side on the inventory app side as well too, since that's where a lot of that, the barcodes are going to be used. So again, just quick walkthrough of printing, but you'll see that next month when we cover the inventory app. But here's my contact information. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. How do we order the stickers for labeling? So Marilyn, simply contact your local sales rep and they can send you a quote for those labels. It comes in a big roll for your printer. And you can source that through us. You can source that through anyone as long as you have a label printer. It's the sizing that is very specific. So the size, if you're not sourcing through us, it is a 2x1. That is the size of the label. So 2 inches long, 1 inch tall. Any other questions?
Hi again. Are there different sizes for the labels?
There is one size, which is the 2x1. Now in here, there are, if you want to go through Salamander University, I've got a documents that walks through some of the different designs on here. It's the default tag design, and in here I've got all of them available right here. So for label designs, there really is just the two, but they're 2x1. They're both 2x1. Most are not using this equipment assignment one. I don't recommend this. All it does is it turns an equipment name into an assignment barcode. But this is the only one that we have, is 2x1. And all it contains in there is the equipment barcode, the name of the item, and the name of the organization. So that's it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, everybody. Thank you all so much again. You all have a great day and take care.
Thank you, Leah.
You're welcome.